Hello, hello, hello. I'm waiting for my live video. There it says I'm live finally. All right. Hey, friends. So, we're going to be talking today about something called the mid year homeschool slump, and we're going to talk about how to persevere through it. So, if you're going to join me now, if you're joining me now and you're hopping on live, say hi in the comments. Let me know what grade levels you're homeschooling this year. And we're going to talk about something that's very real for many homeschooling moms. And you may not be experiencing it yet, but it may be getting ready to hit you. And we want to get ahead of that. So, what is this? It's about what I said, the mid year homeschool slump. Most every homeschool parent experiences it at some point. And so, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling unmotivated, if you're feeling like you are behind, or you're wondering, why did I think this was a good idea again? You're not alone and you're not failing. So let me say this right out the gate, really clearly, right? The mid year slump is normal. It's not abnormal, it is normal. And it happens to new homeschoolers as well as to seasoned homeschoolers. It happens to organized moms and go with the flow moms. It even happens when things are going well. And so we've been homeschooling 23 years. We actually just finished last June. We launched our fifth to college. And so I'm a seasoned homeschool mom, right? But I remember seasons, right, throughout the 23 years of homeschooling where we felt that, like as a homeschool family, a little slumpy. I know I felt it as a homeschool mom. And so I just want you to know it doesn't matter if you've been homeschooling for a long time or not. And sometimes those of us who have been homeschooling for a long time really kind of think, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, we've been doing this for a while. Why am I feeling this way? So let's normalize it. It's not a bad thing, right? This time of year, particularly after the excitement of fall is gone and like the holidays are over, winter starts to feel long and summer feels far away. Your motivation dips, your energy dips, your patience dips, right? And so for me, it's really hard, right? Because I'm a summer baby, right? Born in the summer, love the summer. I don't love the high humidity of the Northern Virginia, D.C. area where I am, but I do love warm weather. And so for me, the cloudy days, the cold days, like snow is beautiful, but then it's not, right? The rainy days of fall, right? And winter and those times like now, I could pass it, right? Florida looks pretty good, doesn't it? Right? But I'm not in Florida and you probably aren't either, right? And even if you are, you're still probably going to experience a little bit of the slump, right? That's not weather related like it can be for me. And so, one thing I want to say, it doesn't mean that you are doing homeschooling wrong. It means you are human, right? So let's normalize it. Let's accept it. Let's figure out what can we do to pivot, but be aware that if you feel slumpy, if that's a word, then it's okay. It's not a bad thing and you're not doing something wrong. You're actually experiencing something pretty common. And so let's talk about, how does this show up? How does this mid-year slump show up? It might show up like your kids are dragging their feet, like they're sleeping longer. They don't want to get up. They're complaining and whining, right? They don't want to get school done. And you may say, oh, this has been going on for a couple of months. If it has, then let's talk about that because that's something else. But the mid year slump is different. When things were pretty much going pretty well, as much as possible, no perfect days in homeschooling, but before Christmas, right? And then after, and you started back up and you're feeling it yourself, your kids are showing this, right? You are even dreading, I don't feel like doing school, like I don't feel like homeschooling, like is this something that it really, like somebody else come homeschool these kids, right? So everything's feeling harder than it should. Maybe you are falling behind your plan, right? Or you're gonna like toss it, like let's abandon this plan completely, right? So whatever that looks like for you, then you might be questioning your curriculum, your schedule, or even yourself. Like you could be like, am I called to this? Really? Like, I don't think I'm the one. I thought I was. I'm not the one. And like, wow, if you pivoted from like public or private school to homeschooling, you may be like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. yeah, where my kid or my children were wasn't that great, and there were issues, and I made the pivot to homeschooling. But like maybe if we had hung in there, it would be okay. It got to be better than this, right? And I hear you. I hear you. Hear you. I believe the reason you pivoted is a valid reason, not for me to make that assessment, but just to kind of like affirm it with you. I don't think you should reconsider, right? If some things feel broken and wrong, then there's fixes for that. But in general, don't pivot back to what you already know wasn't working. You're probably just forgetting how bad it was. This has to be better. And if it's not, we need to talk, okay? So if you've thought, though, any of these things, it's normal. So welcome to the Homeschool Slump Club, right? So I've been there periodically over the 23 years of homeschooling. And like, I just want you to know it's okay, right? It's okay. So I want like to introduce a mindset shift, like kind of like a mindset. Like let's change the mindset. Let's reframe what we used in counseling when I was a licensed therapist, right? A slump, right, is not a signal to quit. It's a signal to adjust. You hear me? It's not a signal to quit. Homeschooling is not meant to be rigid, it's meant to be responsive. So bask in that freedom. Use that freedom as a tool. Don't have things so rigid that you just can't breathe and your kids can't breathe. No one's called you to that rigidity. Homeschooling is not about that. Does that mean that you don't have a strong plan? If that's your choice and it works well for you and for your children, a strong plan, a structure, a schedule, maybe a routine. I'm not talking about don't have that. I'm saying though, when it's not working for you, or you might be in a slumpy feeling, maybe it's time to do a little bit of something different. And maybe not for long term, maybe just to get you through the slump, right? And what you do this year may not be what you do next year. Okay. So remember, homeschooling's not meant to be rigid. It's meant to be responsive. So the slump could be your family's way of saying, we need a reset. We need rest. We need variety. We need encouragement. We need a reminder of why we're doing this. I remember years ago, I saw that yellow school bus going by, and we hadn't been homeschooling but maybe 3 years. And our oldest daughter, you know how homeschoolers do, they challenge us, right? We're raising kids to challenge things and to think through things and to ask questions. And sometimes they do it to us, right? And so she said, Mom, because I had threatened, I said, I'm going to put y'all on a school bus, right? They had never been on the school bus, quite honestly, right? Our kids, we pivoted in 2001, right before 9/11, to homeschooling. And our oldest two had been in a private Montessori school. So they had not been on the school bus, but they knew who got on the school bus and they knew what that meant. And they were like, oh, and my oldest daughter was like, Mom, but you told us the guy called us, our family, to homeschool. And I went, oh, and I heard God saying, okay, how you going to answer that? Right. And I'm like, God help me out. He's like, nope, you got yourself into it. Your daughter's right. I did call you to homeschool. And there were some other things there. If you listen to my TEDx on YouTube, The Impact of Homeschooling, it explains, right? I talk you through some of the other things going on too. But yeah, we did feel called by God to homeschool. And she was right. And I have never said that again, right? Because I needed a reminder of why I'm doing this, right? Why, as a family, we have been called, right? So, how do you persevere practically, not perfectly, because there's no perfection in this? You do not need marathon school days right now. Like marathon school days, like say what, say what. No, you don't need those. Ask yourself maybe what are the non negotiables, the things that just have to happen, right? What can be lighter or what can we pause? Sometimes perseverance looks like doing less well. Exactly, right. Maybe you can change the format, not your goal. So same goals that you have, but maybe a different approach. Maybe audio books instead of worksheets. Like if your library has connection with Libby, then get that connection and get those audio books. Maybe it's time to do a lot of read alouds, right? Just gather around and do that, right? So of course, Alexa's going off, right? Thank you, Alexa. Stop. Alexa, stop. So, educational videos instead of lectures might be like a different way to change that format. Maybe field trips instead of textbooks. Not throwing out the textbooks, but I'm just saying field trips are learning too. I remember amazing field trips, and maybe you can partner with another homeschool mom to watch your kids so you can take the older ones on an older kids field trip, right? Because they like that. Or maybe you partner with the mom and y'all go together and load everybody up in the van and go, right? Okay, I mentioned the read alouds. Maybe doing some things together like that. Maybe cooking, maybe art, some things. Maybe you're going to try something new. Not five new things, but one new thing, right? So, and that should be something that everyone looks forward to. It could be a weekly library day. Get that wagon and head out to the library or your suitcase or whatever you use to get those 1,001 books that homeschooling families collect, right? Maybe a Friday project, like I said, maybe a nature walk, and maybe you join co op. It could be the season for co op. Who knows, right? Try something. I will say joy is not a distraction from learning, it is fuel for it. So if your homeschool isn't joyful, I'm not going to like throw shade on you, right? But really think time and time again, no joy in the homeschool is something's going on. So I'm here to help. I'm here to listen, right? I do offer one-on-one consultations. I'm not here to pitch it right now, but I do. My heart wants to say, let's talk if something's wrong. If I can't help, I know plenty of people. I'm well connected and resourceful to help you, right? So when motivation is really low, maybe reflection will help. Maybe you ask a few key questions. How far have we already come? Like, what have we already accomplished this year? What has my child learned? Probably a lot more than you thought. How has my child grown? Probably quite a bit developmentally, not only physically, right? So progress doesn't always show up in neat check boxes. So ask those questions, reflect a bit, kind of reframe, right, your perspective. So I'm going to speak even more directly to you right now, mom, okay? And homeschool dad, too. You're not behind in life. You're not failing your child. You're not required to homeschool exactly like anyone else. One of the things I often say when I'm speaking at conferences, homeschool conferences around the country, and even when I was blessed to speak in Germany for 2 years in a row, um, don't look over into anyone else's homeschool backyard. That grass is going to look really green, but you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they did to get that green grass, right? Or it could be that your perspective sees green and it's not green. Who knows? So you can consult, you can maybe ask for feedback. Maybe you can say, hey, what math curriculum did you use? Maybe, oh, hey, how did you work through your child with learning challenges and things like that? But don't compare yourself and don't assume that their grass looks so green that your grass is dry and brown and burnt, even if it feels that way. Probably it's your perspective, and maybe some things could be tweaked too, right? So sometimes the most faithful thing that you can do is take a breath, just breathe, take a break. You can do that somehow, figure it out. There's ways. Take your hands off the wheel for a moment. Yeah, you feel like I got to keep my hands on the wheel because we're going to derail. But maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe, right? So I personally, over 23 years of homeschooling, have homeschooled through military moves known as PCSs, deployments, C-section recoveries, three, teen years, hard seasons, and seasons of deep joy. And I can tell you this, one hard month does not define a homeschool year, and one hard year does not define a child's future. What your children remember most is not the slump, even if you think, wow, how can they not remember? You feel it, right? That's because you're a mom and maybe you're a dad. But the children don't remember the slump. They remember the safety that your home is providing, hopefully, right? The relationship, the bonding, maybe not so good right now, but let's focus on working on that. What needs to change, right? As well as the children remember the perseverance that you model for them, how to push through in hard times, how to pivot, how to not focus on perfection, but just making it through sometime is good enough, right? And if you're a person of faith, how to call on Jesus, right? How to have a little bit more prayer as a family. So if this encouraged you today, just drop a heart down. And if you're listening later to the replay, hashtag replay, and say if you're in the middle of a slump, then comment reset. I'm going to cheer you on because you can do this, right? You can do this. This is like high five, right? And if you're not feeling like high five back, let's talk, right? Let's talk. And if you know another homeschool parent who needs this reminder, please share this video with them. You're doing better than you think. You don't have to quit. You just might need to recalibrate a bit, right? And if I can help you in any kind of way, just reach out. If you are not in my homeschool, Let's Get Homeschooling Done Facebook group and you want to be in it, then comment group. If you need some consultations, reach out, right? I do offer them. If you just like want to say, hey, reset and know that I'm cheering you on, that's totally fine too. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Oh, and check out my website, Natalie dash or hyphen Mac, MACK.com. A lot of good stuff there, a lot of blogs. There's a free homeschool high school checklist. A lot of opportunity to engage in services and opportunities to like get a little bit of help, maybe, right? Some free downloads. Check it out, all right? Take care. All the best to you. I know the mid-year homeschool slump, it's not easy, but it's conquerable and you can pivot, you can adjust, and definitely you can recalibrate and you're going to make it, right? You can do it. All right. Bye-bye. Ciao, Bella.